Hey everybody, it's your boy the Cho, Corey Ryan Forster, wellredcomedy.com, WELLRED comedy.com. That is where you can find out where we're going to be whenever they let us start doing stand-up again. Kind of looking rough out there, but I hope you guys are being safe. I hope you're socially distancing whenever you can. If you are essential, we, as always, would like to thank you for doing your thing and keeping us all safe. Until we're able to get back on the road, thank you so much for subscribing to this podcast, downloading this podcast, and maybe best of all, telling all your friends that you can about this podcast. And if you have the time, leaving us a 5-star review there if you think we've deserved it. You can find out every episode that we've ever done on our archives at wellredcomedy.com. This portion of the podcast, as always, is brought to you by SmokeyBoysGrilling.com. Go to SmokeyBoysGrilling.com to get all the rubs for all your meats. And CarveVodka.com. If you want to drink like the Cho, then you need to carve your own path, you silly butts, at CarveVodka.com, Jacksonville's first and only craft vodka distillery. Also, if you're not listening to Into the Biscuit with co-host of the Well Read podcast, Drew Morgan, and Well Read podcast favorite, DJ Lewis, you need to. The podcast drops every Tuesday. They also have a Patreon with some sweet bonus content, so go check that out. And, just get all the content that we have currently to entertain you during these weird, strange, unprecedented, and hopefully not repeated times that we're living in. Hopefully this is the only time that we will have to deal with this shit, because good Lord. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, and like I said, share, download, all that good stuff, and we love you. Skew.
They're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread and butt sex. They care way too much but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks. That makes some people upset, but they got 3 big old dicks that you can suck. On my Sega Dreamcast, and it worked fine most of the time.
Yeah,
it was awesome too. But that console had a lot of good shit besides just that. But it was very ahead of its time, and don't get the respect it deserves.
I just don't see how it didn't go, because it was just it was so good, and it also it introduced us to the 2K franchise, which is still going strong, and it just really hit for me. But no, that I maintain that 64 is just across the board best system ever created, which is, purely because I'm the exact age that it was. I think I'm fairly certain. It was the first one that weren't just shit going this way. You know what I mean?
2D. That wasn't 2D.
Yes. Yes. Shit going this way.
Shit going this way.
Yeah.
Cross your face. Side to side, cross your face shit.
Yeah. Which hits.
Well, hold on. Didn't Nintendo 64 and PlayStation come out at the same time?
Yeah, it was the first one that I got that it was like that. It was the first. I'll say it was the first time that I saw Mario in a different way. That's really what it was. Is that Mario was such a huge video game character, and I was so used to just 2D.
Yes, him going this way.
And
not ever going that way.
And then he could go that way.
Yeah.
And turns out going that way, that's what it is. Going that way is the deal.
We do like to go that way.
Yeah. So, I got it set up down here. I'm about to start playing some fucking Rogue Squadron. Pretty pumped.
No, I'm impressed that it still works, is why I asked. Because, I still have my old Sega and Super Nintendo in my house in Salina. And actually, not that long ago, I dug them out. Periodically over the years, I'll dig them. I still have my regular Nintendo put up in a closet somewhere. But none of them really work anymore. Every time I pull them out and plug them up, I can, coax about an hour out of them maybe, but that's about it. I dug it out last time to show my boys when they were probably 4 and 5, and I could barely get it to work, but also they could not have given less of a fuck about it,
right.
When you not to get all these kids don't know how good they got it, but they don't, but when you from the very beginning in your video game playing, shit can go this way.
Yeah.
And you ain't never had to deal with shit just going this way.
Yeah.
And everything looks like a goddamn Pixar movie. And you can play it on your little tablet that you have at the age of 3 or whatever. You can't really get into Donkey Kong Country.
No, I get it.
I get it
Drew,
too, but I'm always
speaking of the opposite of...
Go ahead.
I hear you, but I feel like it's easier for someone to respect classic movies and classic shows than it is for them to get into games just because of like they just ain't got no room for nostalgia that they weren't fucking a part of. Whereas like I have a lot of room for nostalgia that I wasn't a part of, is in terms of like, as we was talking the other day, I watched the movie Chinatown, and like that movie's old, and like dude, movies are better now. They just are. Like movies are better now, but it's still fucking rad, and I appreciate it. But like I ain't trying to play Tecmo Bowl. You know what I'm saying? I'm not.
Yeah, but movies have been around a long time. Maybe the people will get there.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there probably a lot of people just already are. I'm just different, I guess. Speaking
of how movies age, I actually had a thing I wanted to bring up today. I mentioned this on a text to y'all already, but I rewatched 21 Jump Street the other night. I haven't rewatched 22 Jump Street yet, but I fucking love those movies. I think that
they're funny.
Everybody knows now that Lord and Miller are the shit, but people didn't really know it at the time. But it's sort of like they're like the kings of making something better than it had any right to be, because they also did the Lego movie, and
that's so good.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember when because I've always kept up with like show business news and announcements and stuff. In 2012, when 21 Jump Street came out, there had been a rash of, and this has never really stopped, but we were in the middle of a heavy period of like ill-advised, shitty-ass reboots of things like RoboCop and Total Recall and stuff like that. I don't know if those fit the exact timeline.
Judge Dredd, I think, is during that time.
They were somewhere around there. Carl Urban's Judge Dredd movie hits harder than the first one. But anyway.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it kind of rules.
Really? Actually. I mean, I love Carl Urban, and I mean,
yeah. No,
hell, I liked the first Judge Dredd. I was a kid, though.
Cersei is Lena Headey she's the villain in it, and Carl Urban plays Judge Dredd, and it hits real hard. Anyway, there'd been a lot of reboots that did not hit for people around this time, and then they announced they were rebooting 21 Jump Street, which was like some silly high school bullshit to begin with that people only ever cared about because it was Johnny Depp's first big thing. And everybody at the time, including me, was like, what the fuck are they doing? This is the dumbest fucking idea. This is not going to hit. There's no way this is going to hit. And movie hits really hard. It's fucking hilarious. I just rewatched it, and the humor holds up. It's still very, very funny. But one thing I did notice, though, was, especially at the beginning, when Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill first become cops, a lot of the humor and the jokes is based around
cops being lackadaisical and shit.
Them being like dumbass bro cops who don't take the job seriously and are like goofy about it. Like they literally like pin a black dude down for having weed and start like dipping their ball sack in his face and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and like like fuck you, motherfucker, and shit like that. They like are firing their guns in the air.
Yeah,
and, like,
a lot of desk pops.
Like throwing their guns to each other. Yeah, desk pops and the other guys. Anyway, I was watching it. It was like, I understand all the context of this. I know it's just supposed to be goofy and funny, and it is still funny, but all of that type of shit just sort of hits a little different now.
It does. Yeah.
And I was just thinking about like, buddy cop movies or comedies or whatever. It's like, I just wonder what the future holds for those. When I brought this up in the text message, our buddy Mark, Smart Mark, was like, well, you think that's bad? Watch the Bad Boys franchise again and see, like, they have like $500 million worth of property damage in one high-speed chase just to shake down one drug dealer or whatever. And I was like, sure. But I think it's very, very different because it's not played for laughs in those movies. Like that's
right.
That's an over the. You know what movies also do that? The fucking Marvel movies do.
Sure.
That,
Oh yeah.
And dude, they try to address it a little bit, but they just hand wave it away basically.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah, hell, you speak of in the Marvel movies, like I kind of look at even that differently now, just because like I was watching Age of Ultron the other night. Just we're on our Marvel rewatch, like a lot of people have been doing, and that's just where we're at. And obviously, this is like a kind of a huge tent pole within the franchise for the story going forward. Like the whole thing with Sokovia and everything ends up being like the breaking point that causes civil war and makes Cap and them take one side over the other. But like while I'm watching it now, I'm like, God damn, like, yeah, it's weird. Like at the time, like
they're just destroying this whole fucking city.
Everything.
And it's like, for what? Like, to save nothing? Like, nobody gave a shit. And at the time when I was watching it at first, I was just like, yeah, fuck them up. Get it.
Right.
You know, but now looking just through this lens, it's like, I don't know, man. Maybe we should defund the fucking Avengers and get some civil servants.
Right. And, you know, to their credit, they had a whole storyline about
it
that
was a whole
concept, pretty much.
But which led to a civil war.
Right. But still, I still think that type of thing is different because that type of shit is in
all fantasy.
over the top, big budget action movies where it's like, basically they're like, well, explosions and shit is cool. We're trying to make a really cool movie. Like, people are going to just have to sort of pretend like, you know, we're not blowing entire neighborhoods up and like there's not absolutely collateral damage. But it's like everybody's just sort of implicitly agreeing to just mostly let that shit slide or whatever, which is different from like it being played for humor. Like, it's supposed to be funny.
Sure.
It's explicitly done to be funny. In 2012, I mean, I don't remember thinking any of that shit when I watched it, and it's not like Cops were any different then, but I just laughed at it then. But watching it now, it's like, man, it's funny, but also like, this is all kind of fucked up, you know? Like, it's not like a cop being that laissez-faire about shooting his gun over a weed arrest or whatever is just like, it ain't as funny as it used to be, I guess.
I think it might have been maybe Drew that brought this up at one point, but this is very similar to, we hadn't talked about it on here just in person, but like, somebody had tweeted one time about how this presidential administration has ruined movies like Air Force One and shit. Right. Because like, if you were to pitch me a movie right now that was like, the president gets held hostage, and I'd be like, stop there, kill that motherfucker. Who gives a shit?
Well,
like,
we were just talking on a very recent episode. I brought up Bill Pullman and Independence Day.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that whole thing and how you couldn't, having the American president as a character in a movie like that today is very, very different because no one on planet Earth looks at that office the way that they used to anymore.
And like, this motherfucker. I think it's going to take a couple administrations.
Before, for sure.
And I mean, and they're going to have to be like, you know, 5 steps forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to have 2 really good administrations before we can go, okay, the respect of the office has been restored. It probably won't ever happen, honestly. It's probably just over forever. Drew, can I tell you something? Did you get cut? Did you get like did you work out in the woods?
No, but I got tan.
Oh, right. That makes you look a little bit more defined, I guess. You looking fucking good, boy.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, and like, I'm saying that compared to me, and I can only see you from the good part of you up, because like I had ramen noodle for breakfast.
Last night I went out to get donuts, and I got a donut and a carrot cake and a burrito.
Yeah. How you feel?
Like you would expect. like I ate a donut and a carrot cake and a burrito. Honestly, the carrot cake was offensively bad. Trae, you got it in my head to get donuts because you for Father's Day you went to Dad's Donuts, right?
Well, Dad's Donuts came to me, baby. You know.
Yeah.
And I waited around all night and ended up smoking weed, and I haven't been smoking much at all anymore. But I smoked weed and wanted a donut, and you've been talking about it. And I went to this place, Fantastic Donuts, that was supposed to be open till 9. And I mean, it says open till 10, and then it says coronavirus changed our hours to 9, but it was just closed.
At 1 hour?
It was like 8 and it was closed. Like, it just, I don't know. Anyway, so I went to Yum Yums, which I knew was like, you know, it's not great. And the donut was fine, but I also got a carrot cake there. And I think, like, it was in an individually wrapped with, like, wax paper situation, but, like, I mean, it tasted like an off-brand Little Debbie carrot cake.
I didn't know.
Like, it was plasticky and it was strange. I threw it away, slammed it, like, with emotion. I threw it away with my chest. But I got a burrito on the way home, too, because I realized the reason I was wanting a donut is I'd only had soup for dinner. And so I finished my burrito. Like, I ate the donut. I ate half the burrito and the donut and started to eat the carrot cake. Andy ate most of the donut. I ate half the burrito, half the donut. Started to eat the carrot cake, and it sucks. And then I just ate the rest of the burrito.
You're normally not a trash guy like me and Trae. Like as far as food, like you've famously to our podcast, you famously said you don't eat a lot of trash, but the trash that you do eat, you eat a lot.
I texted that to you, Trae, and Mark 4 days ago,
which I consider famous.
Yes.
That's famous. That's in my world. You famously
Yeah.
said that. I guess what I'm about to.
And also that Bull Pullman thing, Trae, you did say it on the podcast, referencing me, you, and Mark talking about it in our yard.
Look, man, shit's wild out there. We don't know what we've said, when we've said it. We've just said a lot of stuff. I want to ask, are you?
Well, Trae did say it on the podcast. It's just funny that it was a conversation with the same guy that you're talking about this conversation. The point you're making, though.
Well, I'm trying to ask, are you a little famished from being in the woods for 5 goddamn days? Because this type of trash is normally not the trash that you be eating. Like you just been eating nothing but like fire cooked eggs for 5 days.
I was drinking beer every day, and when I got back, I decided to not drink beer, and my body just wants the sugar.
Yeah, I was about to say that's the fucking word. Yeah, I
drank like 4 or 5 beers every day while I was there, and it was nice.
Yeah, I bet you had fun.
I got some Coors Heavies one day. Mm-hmm. We got fucking White Claws one day. What the fuck is this bullshit? I thought the whole point of that was it was like 30 calories or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's still 90.
It's 100.
What?
Some of them are 100. The ones I drink are 90.
Are you serious?
Right?
Yeah, it's like, what's the point? No,
I've never fucked with them. I thought what you thought. This has blown my mind. I thought they were just like LaCroix.
Vodka sodas.
Yeah, right.
No, realistically, the whole point, like that I can gather is like, some people don't like.
Yeah.
Drink that because that's the thing it could be.
Because how much is
they are, dude? I'll tell you this, man. Like that, if you Mick Ultra's like 90-100. It's the same. It's literally the same. Now I'll say this: I would rather have a White Claw than a Mick Ultra, and it has more.
It depends
alcohol.
on the flavor, dude. We had the lime ones. That's the worst shit they got. It's all fake. You know,
somebody
what I mean?
said
it's not real lime and fake
somebody
lime.
Said
they didn't perfect that.
I like the tangerine one. Somebody said online that a White Claw sounds like you're drinking TV static while someone screams the name of a fruit from the other room, which is a lot to take in, but it's pretty accurate. It does have more alcohol though than like a Mick Ultra. Like whereas a Mick Ultra is like 3.2 and it's 80-90 calories. This is 5% and it's that many calories. So like, I think that argument definitely has to come into play.
Okay, but the Miller Lights are like 4.2 and they're 95 calories.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm not, buddy. I'm literally just playing devil's advocate just to be doing it. Like it is more alcohol, but like other than that, I think maybe there's less carbs. Maybe.
Although
it's 3 carbs, I think.
My mind, because I've never fucked with them. I'm just aware of them, and I absolutely thought the whole point of them was like, well, you know what Drew said. I had no idea they had as many calories as a light beer does.
Yeah, it's kind of. But like I said, you do get drunk quicker.
If you have a shot-ish of just vodka, the alcohol itself is going to be about 40, I think, calories or 50. So, but I just thought, and that's it. And then there might be 5 more from the fruit juice or whatever.
Right. No, man. Like I said, like it can't be if you say it's a health thing, it's just you don't want to drink beer. Like you're a girl and you don't want to drink beer. And like that, dude, I had a couple the other day because by the pool they're more refreshing. Yeah. Sometimes than a beer. And my whole thing on them is
honestly, the reason I brought it up is because I just don't feel that way. I drank 3 of them on the river and felt like dog shit.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm still not gonna hit, but the but my thing on it is like, you know how like I feel like those, like when you're drinking outside, you're always gonna run into the chance that like your drink is gonna get warm quicker than normal. A kind of warm White Claw is not near as bad as a kind of warm Bud Light or Coors Light. That's how I feel.
You'll disagree.
I know you're a dog though.
I guess I keep thinking about that fucking lime one that I literally couldn't finish.
I don't like
instead
lime.
of the
Mango's my
black
favorite.
cherry one.
Black cherry is my favorite one.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, it's the best.
It checks out that Joe's a bit of a White Claw connoisseur, and over here, it's never come up before. We never even talked about it, but this is the most natural thing in the world. That you have a ranking of all the flavors. You can talk in detail about the nutritional value, the idea behind it.
Well, you know
corporate philosophy.
Yeah, I mean, why I live with.
Yeah, right.
Like I've never once purchased White Claws for myself. I bought them for her and then had some, but like she, you know, sometimes they'll just be at the house, and I mean, fuck yeah, dog, you know me, I'm trash. I'll drink whatever the fuck. But yeah, they're fun. But there is a hierarchy. I could rank them flavor wise for sure. And lime is amongst the worst. Mango's my least favorite. Die freeze.
No.
Dude, I'm just checking right here. I might be wrong. Actually, vodka might have like 80 calories in it. So, I mean, look, man, if you're going to drink, you're going to get fat.
Alcohol itself, it's impossible for it not, like, it just, alcohol be having that many calories in it. You know what I'm saying?
But, okay, I mean, I knew a vodka soda, I think, is between like 80 and 100 calories.
I thought it was 40 for some
depending
reason.
on the pour you get or whatever. But is this just wrong? Is this just in my head? I feel like still a vodka sodas and White Claws are not 1-to-1. They cannot be.
No,
I
guarantee.
I guarantee you, I'd have to. And I'm talking about in terms of the effect they have. Like, surely I'd have to drink more than 6 White Claws, I would think. And if I have 6 vodka sodas, I'm going to be like at least a little bit drunk. You know?
Yeah.
Like
you drink doubles.
6 White Claws, you'll feel good. I mean, 100%.
We're trying to do drunk math, which is only inferior to pill math in terms of white trashiness.
And the thing is
drink till you get drunk.
In both of those cases, I have to be on the thing in order to be good at the math part of it.
Right.
If I'm on pills, buddy, I know exactly this milligram to this milligram to blah 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 to speckles to blah blah blah. But when I'm sober, I'm like, I don't remember that. I ain't fucked up.
I just think if I had 2 vodka sodas before a show, that would be about right as far as I'm concerned. I'd be like, yeah, this is what's up.
But
and if I had
ordering
2
it as
White
the comic,
Claws, if I had 2 White Claws, I don't think I'd feel a goddamn thing.
Yeah, I think what Drew's saying is correct. If you got a regular pour from a regular motherfucker, it might be the same.
Yeah, the waitress is like, Trae needs a vodka soda. The bartender's hooking you up.
Yeah, but see, Drew, if I order a regular one and they pour it like double or triple, I don't ingest those calories because it's not what I ordered.
Right. Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, your wife taught you that by eating off your plate.
Well, since you just brought up ordering drinks at comedy clubs, I kind of do feel like we need to at least bring up or mention for a second what happened this past weekend at essentially our home club, Zany's in Nashville, which kind of frightened me. And for those of you out there that don't know what I'm talking about, D.L. Hughley was doing a show, and I think he was about maybe 30 seconds into his show, and he's sitting on his stool, and he goes into a joke, and all the joke, and he kind of starts stammering, and then all of a sudden, somebody runs up on stage, and D.L. just passed smooth the fuck out, falls off his stool, hits his head. They end the show after about 30 seconds. This is in a packed room where nobody is really wearing face masks. And it turns out later that D.L. Hughley has coronavirus. So I guess what I wanted to ask you guys, we've talked about this before on the podcast with Roy Wood Jr. about like what it's going to be like when we come back. When are we actually going to be able to come back? Do you guys have, because I immediately had this fear, do you think that just set us back like 4 or 5 goddamn months?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, like at least, right? I don't know how it couldn't. And the other thing is, like, of course that happened. And I need to restrain myself from getting too fired up about it because, like, I love Zany's and I love the people in charge of Zany's and I love everybody that works at Zany's and I don't blame them. They're just trying.
They're just trying to make a buck, dude. I ain't
just
mad
trying
at
to keep their business open, whatever, make people laugh and all that. And I get it, but it's like, still though, this like, of course something like this happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because you can't just. It's not just comedy clubs. It's what all of society seems to be doing right now, which is just like sort of like we're all just gonna act like it's fine and it's over and we can do whatever. But like nothing has fucking changed. Nothing has changed from March. So like you can't just reopen live shows with a bunch of people in a room together and whatever else and not have them wear masks or any of that stuff. And expect something like this to not happen. Like, of course, something like this happened. And yes, I think it absolutely will set us back because, I mean, how could it not?
I mean, that's what I kept saying, man. Like, I kept saying to my mom and some of my friends, I was like, dude, I totally agree when you say, look, man, there eventually would come to a point where it's like, look, we can't all just stay in our houses forever and we all have to go back to work and some people are going to lose their job. And I was like, buddy, I hear you. I was like, but I think that this is like a week after people had been inside for a week and they were like, we got to fucking do something. And I was like, I hear you on that front. I really do. But I have this big fear that what we're going to do is we're going to try to open back too early. Then the second wave's going to hit. Then we're going to have to close back up again. And it's going to be worse than it would have been if we'd have just waited fucking just a little bit longer and, you know, hedged our bets a little bit and nobody was trying to hear it. And here we fucking are. And like, and I said, you know, if that had happened at fucking Chick-fil-A, somebody passed out behind a counter would be one thing. But this specifically happened at a comedy club. And I can't imagine anybody that would, I mean, I wouldn't want to go see shit right now. Would you? Would you go to a fucking show?
Well, and that's the other thing too. Like that whole argument is like, dude, people have to work. People have bills. It's easy for you to say, hey, we need to stay at home. You don't, you know, you're not like struggling to put food in your family's mouth and are kept in that position by the lockdown. That's all true, and I get that. But like, we're talking about a comedian on stage at a comedy show. Like I'm a comedian, and I'm sorry, I have trouble making any kind of argument to justify why comedy shows specifically need to be on the list of things that we can somehow do again. There's plenty of things we can do with precautions and stuff. I don't know how you make the argument that live comedy shows or live music or any of that
the thing
should be one of them.
Like, I mean, obviously, this is just one person saying this, so it's anecdotal, but like, it does affect my fucking livelihood, and I'm still sitting here telling you, I don't think. Like, it's not like it's not like Well Red does so well that I'm just going to be able to sit on my ass until the middle of 2021 and go, we're good. That, you know, the book's getting published in Mexico now. We'll be fine. Like, but just clearly, man, I mean, think about all those fucking people in that room that just like somebody gonna get it.
Yeah, you'd think.
I know.
Like if I found out, I mean, we've already rescheduled some of our shows for later in the summer, much later, but the way America's acting, I can't imagine things will be much better then. If they're still on the books, if nothing has changed legally or whatnot, I mean, I'll be there. I'll show up and
I will too. I just don't expect anybody to go.
But like, well, that's part of it. I don't like, that's the thing. It's like, we can say they're back up, but people have been going, man, because a whole lot of people don't give a fuck. But with our fan base, I feel like
we have smart fans. I'll say it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I think that might be a different story. But the other thing is, like, if I somehow found out, even though the person made the choice and bought the ticket and whatever else, but if I somehow found out like a month later that somebody came to one of the shows we had and like that's where they got it, and they are dead now, I'm going to feel pretty goddamn bad about that.
I would literally never forgive myself.
Even though they, like I said, yes, personal responsibility, they didn't have to come, they bought the ticket, this hypothetical person in this hypothetical scenario. But I'm just saying, like, again, not everybody, there were always the idiots, but most reasonable people were talking about it in these terms in March when everything started. And again, very little has actually changed, but it seems like most people, there's sort of general consensus is like, well, we did that, and now we're not anymore.
Right. Like there's not even there's not.
But we didn't do it. That's the thing.
I know
that's a big part of why it ain't, taking or whatever. It ain't working.
It don't hit.
No,
Coronavirus don't hit.
No, Corona. Yeah, that's the
follow up to Hitler don't hit, 9/11 don't hit.
The Corey Forster trilogy.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just got me really. It's the whole thing about we were talking when all this first started going on, and I was literally, I'd locked myself in my fucking attic. I wasn't even going to the store. I wasn't doing shit. Like I was eating every canned thing we had at the house, so I didn't have to leave, so that possibly after an incubation period, I could maybe go see my parents. And then like just, one of my old buddies, I'm not buddies with them anymore, that's why I said old buddies, just showed up to my house and then negated all the work that I'd done. That's what this fucking feels like. It feels like we've been off the road and a lot of people have been trying and then now this, and it's like, all right, cool. Let's just tack 6 months back onto your fucking sentence.
It adds like sort of, I don't know how to put this in the way that I want to, but it's like, if this is how we're going to just start acting now and from here on out and everything, then it does kind of, even though it still made a difference at the time and whatever else, but like it negates so much effort we already had. Like if we were gonna like get to this point and then just start acting like this, then maybe we should have never even fucking done any of that other shit to begin with.
We
like
shouldn't.
If we weren't,
they'd already be dead now, and we'd already be grieving. It'd be fine.
Like if we were never gonna see the shit through in the first place, then fucking, you know.
I mean, I know what you mean, but we had to try.
No, I know, but yeah, I mean, obviously, but I don't.
We've wasted the good work we've done.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. This bullshit now, like I said, negates all the like good faith efforts at the beginning, and that's part of what makes it so.
It reminds me of Isbell confessing that he drank that shot of Listerine recently, and he called Amanda, who was in the barn. I'm talking about Jason Isbell, as if I know him personally. Sorry, everybody. Jason Isbell is recovered. He's a recovered alcoholic. He still uses Listerine because he's stubborn. I mean, he admitted it. He's like, a lot of alcoholics won't use it because it's tempting. You put a bunch of alcohol in your mouth. He swallowed it. He said he didn't think about it, but it was on purpose. Anyway, he called Amanda, and she goes, well, if you're going to fucking do it, let's go get something expensive, and let's do it. And it's like there's a temptation or whatever, Trae. Like, I know your logic of like, well, if it ain't going to work, fuck it. Let's party. Let's have a big-ass weekend. I'll make a bunch of money and do comedy. That'll hit. You know what I mean? Let's all catch it. Fuck it. But we did still have to try.
Yeah, I guess I'm just afraid now of, like, the second wave and we try to shut down because now we know exactly how people are going to react. Like, I've seen it once. Like, when they start going for the shutdown shit, like, I'm at the house. Like, I'm still trying to be at the house, but, like, I've lost so much goddamn hope.
We're talking about society just pretending that COVID's over and reopening. Another one that's just like we said earlier about D.L. Hughley. Of course this happened. Of course something like that happened. You had to know something like that was going to happen. Maybe not this quickly, but you knew something like that was going to happen. I keep thinking the same thing about, who else is very much doing that is the NFL right now. Like the NFL and the whole thing, everybody that covers the NFL is very much like just pulling the wool over their own eyes and just talking about what Tom Brady's going to do with the Bucs this season and all this stuff. And like, don't get me wrong, the NFL, A, massive multi-billion-dollar franchise, and B, don't give a fuck about nobody or nothing.
Never have, never
money. Will. No. So like, they are gonna play at the beginning. Like I fully believe that too. But I'm saying they're not allowed to gather as a team yet physically together. So what has happened a couple of times is like a couple of quarterbacks have called a bunch of his receivers and they've all gotten together off the books at some facility wherever. One of them was in Nashville. I can't remember who it was in Nashville, but there's a group of guys, not Titans, another team, some players from Nashville, and they were all in Nashville together working out and stuff. And a few different groups of players have done this. And in multiple instances, those little practice sessions have resulted in COVID outbreaks among the players. Now, these are all young guys. These are all young guys. Then they're, genetic freaks, and they're all like as healthy as a human being could possibly be. They're fine, but they get tested a lot, and they got COVID. They're just asymptomatic. But it's happened already, and to the point that the NFL Players Union, the NFLPA, put out a thing like formally requesting that all of its members, so all NFL players, they no longer do that. They no longer gather together to work out together like that because of COVID. But it doesn't address it's not safe to do that, but training camp's going to be fine.
Right.
But also it's like all these players, yes, they're young, they're in their prime, they're probably going to be fine. But dude, fucking what happens when Andy Reid dies?
Don't hit.
In October from, coronavirus. Like a lot of the coaches are old and fat.
Why would you choose Andy Reid?
Because he's old
fat,
and fat.
Don't hit.
He's the fattest one. I love Andy Reid, but he's like the fattest. It's not.
And that's actually the
choice. He's the fattest one.
It's why it's the choice too. Is also like going to be everybody's excuse.
And everybody loves him.
I'm saying it's going to be their fucking excuse. It's just like when Diffie died of corona, everybody was like, well, I mean, goddamn, how much longer was Joe Diffie going to live anyways? All he did was drink beer every day and eat cheeseburgers, blah, blah. With Andy Reid, dude, if he dies of corona, it's going to be they'll be like, oh, shit. He got corona and it gave him a heart attack. That's what the fuck happened. That fat fuck's had it coming ever since, blah, blah, blah.
Well,
it don't hit.
Either way, I just don't like it's just like with the live comedy thing. It's like you can fucking plug your ears and everything is it's going to be fine. But, at 3-4 weeks into the process, you've already got a pretty big comedy star, a comedy legend, really fucking collapsing on stage due exactly to this problem. And it's like, what the fuck? How is that gonna? It's just like legally production can start back up on all Hollywood shit, but they haven't yet. And the reason why is because there's unions out here that are like, well,
we ain't doing that.
What are we gonna? That we still, just because they say we can do it doesn't mean we figured it out. Because again, if they fire it back up, what happens in 2 months when Robert De Niro dies of this shit? You know what I mean? Like, this town isn't going to care about that. They are like, they do. I just don't know what people are thinking, really. As far as, I know what they're thinking. They're thinking we got to make some fucking money, or everything is over.
Circling back. That's why and this isn't just trying to defend my very, very good friends who I kind of consider family, especially in the comedy world. Our friends at Zanies. This is why I don't fucking blame them. I blame people like Brian Kemp, the governor of Georgia, and I blame all the people higher ups saying this is okay, because when they do that and everybody else opens up, then everyone starts feeling the pressure of like, well, okay, if we're doing it, we're doing it. We got it. We really want to help the people out, and we've got people with jobs. It ain't their fucking fault. It's the it's the politicians that don't give a fuck if people die, and they don't give a shit if D.L. Hughley passes out on a stage at Zane. They're about to come out and announce that it was completely something different that what happened to him. Like, there's some lie brewing right now. Not from Zanies, from some fucking, I don't know what to call them people that are really, really rich.
Vampires. Me and DJ came up with it. They're vampires.
Okay.
Vampires, they won't look in the mirror because they can't stand to see themselves for who they really are. They won't come in your house unless you invite them, and then they suck the fucking blood from your life.
But vampires hit for me.
I was just going to suggest
rich people hit for you too.
That's true. I'm with it.
I was just going to suggest iguanas. Mine's way less creative than y'all's is. You put way more thought into it.
DJ did all that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, right.
God damn it. What was it that he fucking said? I want to tell this to the world, because I feel like I share his text sometimes on Twitter, and people are like, God damn, I'd pay $1 million to have DJ Lewis's phone number. What the fuck did he say? This is without context. I'm just going to tell you a text I got from DJ. And on one hand, I guess it's good Biden getting elected, but they're going to want to go to war with aliens, and I ain't with that.
Yeah.
Well, he was.
So you heard it here first, folks. DJ Lewis, not a fan of going to war with aliens.
Well, he was talking about a documentary that he talked about. I put a little bit of it up on the podcast, Into the Biscuit, and I put a little bit of it up on a Patreon, because he does a thing on our Patreon called Space News.
Yeah.
And he watched this documentary called Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, and buddy, he's got some thoughts.
Can I ask you this? Why did we skip the fourth?
I believe we didn't. It just wasn't that popular.
Okay.
No, hold on. I used to know this. There's a shitty horror movie called The Fourth Kind. The fourth kind is being abducted, I think, isn't it?
Okay.
I thought the first kind is like just seeing it or something. Second kind, I don't know.
Third kind,
I used to know all this shit because I used to be real into alien stuff. Not as much as DJ, and I sort of fell out of the game. He just kept soaring, but
he never
quit after the fourth kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, there's another thing that I just want to, for whatever reason, and seriously, we could do it briefly. Another big story in comedy this week that I just like to give a small disclaimer on in case anybody is wondering. That whole Chris D'Elia shit. If it's crossed anybody's mind, like why we've had silence on it, or I mean, at least I've had silence on it. Breaking that silence now. I don't know that motherfucker at all. I've met him briefly one time, very briefly. We exchanged like 2 sentences. I don't know anything about him, but based on all the shit that I've seen, it seems pretty likely that he's into all that. That being like
grooming young
age
women,
girls, whatever, like around that between like 15 and 19, something another, and that don't hit for me.
That don't hit for me neither. I'll go on record
so
saying
just
don't hit.
going on I don't.
Just in case, so I don't get left out.
Yeah.
It does not hit for me either.
There you go. 3 out of 3 don't hits from the well-read boys.
So just to be clear, but
By
I did
the
one
way,
aspect.
He don't hit for me either. Before all this, he didn't.
Me either, but I never wanted to say that because I can't stand it. Sometimes when people go, "Oh, you know what? I never thought Bill Cosby was funny." Anyways, first off, yes, he was, and secondly, okay, were you a hero for not thinking a rapist was funny?
But it ain't just us. Lori Kilmartin raised the point that Louis had all those women accusing him of jacking off in front of him, and one or two of them saying he trapped him in a room to do it, and the comedy community bent over backwards to defend him, and almost nobody's defending Chris D'Elia. And that's kind of gross. It's gross that people would defend somebody just based upon. But her point is, nobody liked him to begin with.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And that's right. I agree with Corey though. Like the whole it also kind of don't hit for me when people do it. I'm like, well, I never liked this motherfucker anyway. It's like, well that's
fuck you both. I've been saying it the whole time. It's like I've been saying on this podcast that I didn't like him. That he stole his best bit from Dylan Moore.
Is all I'm saying.
I've said stuff in private because I don't even if I don't like another comedian, I just don't ever like to put any comedian until they commit a crime, and then I'll be like, fuck that person. But if it's just I don't like your comedy, usually I'm just like,
but it ain't
whatever.
Just that. Hold on, let's not let it be said that it's just I don't find him that funny.
That was it for me.
His dad bought him a career.
I didn't know none of that.
He got Whitney Cummings' show made on with the condition that she put him in it. So he also therefore got him an acting career.
Wait a minute, hold on.
His best first viral joke was about drunk girls. He stole it from Dylan Moran, word for word. He's a fucking dickbag. It wasn't just I don't think he's that funny. I don't care if I don't think
none of that. I just did it because he wasn't funny.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know none of that.
The only thing I want to...
Mine was purely artistic.
The Whitney Cummings thing in particular, Whitney Cummings very famously had 2 pilots at the same time that were greenlit simultaneously, the show you're talking about, and 2 Broke Girls. Yeah. And she was forced to choose, and of course she picked the one, her namesake or whatever, the eponymous one, which I understand, but it's not like she was in dire straits or a shitty situation.
Well, no, I don't think that's how that works, and I don't mean to suggest that it does. I mean, in order to have the opportunity to get a sitcom, you're in the conversation with maybe 10 other people, probably 5. But how they choose who of those 5, I'm saying that, look, legend has it. I mean, Chris D'Elia's dad is rich and very well connected, and supposedly he was in on it. Maybe he wasn't.
Well, either way, okay, Corey, what is it?
It's not my goal to take.
I have one thing I want to say about Chris D'Elia's whole deal, aside from all that. But Cho clearly has something he wants to do or say.
Oh, I was just hoping that you would think I looked like the moon because I just went to scratch my head and I took my hat off and I've got the Aurora Borealis behind me. And I was like, this will hit for Trae. I want him to see me.
You do look like the moon. I can tell how excited you are. This reminds me of what happened last night. I'm going to tell it real quick.
Oh, God damn it.
I rewatched, me and Katie and the boys rewatched Ant-Man last night. And
movie hits.
Movie does hit. The villain in Ant-Man is Yellow Jacket, right?
Corey Stoll.
Evil scientist guy, played by Corey Stoll, who you also would know from House of Cards and a bunch of other stuff.
Midnight in Paris.
He's he's awesome. He plays Yellow Jacket, and while watching that movie, Yellow Jacket don't get a lot of play, in my opinion, when people discuss big villains or not like that. And he wasn't that big of a villain, and that's why when he pops up in the full Yellow Jacket suit at the end of the movie, toward the end of the movie, when you first see him, I had the thought man, this motherfucker's pretty badass, really. I kind of feel like this guy's a little underrated as a villain because that's pretty fucking sweet looking, and he's got lasers. He's a bug with lasers and shit.
Yes.
Anyway, it does hit. And I just texted Corey because I know he's a big Marvel fanboy or whatever. I was like, I think Yellow Jacket's underrated as a villain. He's actually a pretty rad villain. And Corey's response was, I know what you're doing right now. And I was like, what? I just thought you would. He's like, you're trying to bait me into saying something about him being bald, and this is a bald thing. And that's why it hits for me is because he's bald. And I was like, and I said, I was talking about him in the suit even. I wasn't even thinking about Corey Stoll is bald, but he's a hitting bald, Joe. So why would I relate that to you? Oh, that's not. That's not
Here's
what I
why.
thought.
Let me tell you this. This is kind of ironic because right after you sent that, I started watching. I just have now started Star Trek: The Next Generation. Never watched it in my life. I mean, it came on. It started when I was born, and then when I was a kid, you couldn't just go back in my day, you couldn't just go back and watch shit. But
I
now
used to watch it in syndication when I was a kid.
Yeah,
It'd come
me
on
too.
like TBS and stuff like that, and I would watch it, but not in order or nothing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I had seen episodes, but I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So I was like, I'm gonna start this motherfucker, and it's just gonna be my new jam. And as I was watching it, I was sitting there, and like Patrick Stewart first walks in, like the first time he ever walks in, and I just got I swelled up with pride. I swelled up,
pride,
and I was just like, man, he's a hitting bald. And I almost texted you, man, Patrick Stewart, he's a hitting bald. And then I remembered a text message that you sent one time out of the blue that literally just said, hey, Cho, Patrick Stewart, is he considered a hitting bald? As in, I have a meeting once a week with all these other bald motherfuckers where we just sit there and go, all right, who's our bald of the month? Patrick Stewart, right? So.
but Patrick
he is a hitting
Stewart,
bald.
Right. He hits for you. Corey Stoll hits for you. Let me guess. Michael Chiklis hit for you?
Actually, I've never seen Michael Chiklis. I haven't seen The Shield, so I haven't. So I'm sure
you should check it out. He's a real hitting bald.
Dude, Hank from fucking Breaking Bad was like, I thought one of the most underrated characters. I loved him. I did
that dude was incredible.
He's also, you've made me think about it. Like, there's a bunch. Like, I do find myself. Larry David's like my favorite. Like, anytime there's a really hitting bald, I'm like, yeah, you
all
got
solidarity.
It. Yeah, like they're like Larry David's like my Barack Obama. Yeah, it's like if you can do it, but
Will Sasso.
Dude, bro, are you shitting me? That motherfucker hits me. He's also fat, so it hits on about two levels. He's a fat ball.
Funny. And he's
very funny. He's underrated. He's hilarious. He's super talented.
I made Andy watch. You seen him do the
Kenny Rogers?
Kenny Rogers cooking
Jackass.
Yeah.
And
I'm Kenny Rogers, and this is Jackass.
This is how good he is at it. He's playing Kenny Rogers. Pardon my not correct thing here. He's playing him as a mentally handicapped person, and the reason he's doing it is the joke is he's Southern, therefore he's stupid.
Yeah.
And he's so good at it, it does not piss me off in the slightest.
Right. I hadn't even really thought about it.
Making them ribs. And he go, that's good. It fucking kills me every time. Oh, man, breaking up.
So I guess he is that good at it because I've never considered it that.
Well, the first time I saw it,
but yeah, man, like, so many balls. I love Bruce Willis. My God.
Well, the first time I saw that sketch, the reason I realized it is I was like, why is he playing Kenny Rogers as dumb? Kenny Rogers ain't dumb. And then I was like, oh, because he's Southern, and that's like the way to do it.
Joe, J.K. Simmons?
Oh, my God, bro. Yeah. You know how excited I was when they said he was coming back as Jonah Jameson?
He's I think, the only character who could have done that, I think.
I agree.
And have everybody be thrilled about it.
I agree. Yeah, you couldn't have done that with almost anybody.
I got two, and they're related. I want to know, do you remember that Billy Zane was bald for a while?
Yeah.
Did that make y'all mad? Does that
no, it hit for me.
Stolen valor? Okay.
No, it hit for me.
Okay. Now he's not as famous, but Wayne Rooney is a soccer player.
That don't hit for me.
He was bald, and then he got his hair fixed.
That hits. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
You know what?
He lied about it though. He was like, "Oh, I've always had hair. I just."
You know why? You know why he lied about it? Because there's a huge fucking stigma, man, about someone getting their goddamn hair plugs or something like that. They're like, "Oh yeah, well you know what? He used to be bald." Well, motherfucker, some people used to have a disease and they took a goddamn pill. You gonna be mad at them? Like, oh no, he's supposed to have diabetes. Look at him over there walking with both feet, piece of shit. Like he just gonna eat all them popsicles and then have surgery, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Fuck.
I laughed a fart at in the middle of that rant.
Oh my God.
Does that make me like honorary bald?
Yeah.
Dude, I knew as soon as you were like, you said Wayne Rooney, he got used to be bald, but then he got it fixed. The Joe's like, no, that's for me. I knew where that was going and exactly how it was going to get there.
Does it make you upset that LeBron never allowed himself to be bald because he could have been your ultimate champion?
Black bald don't count. Listen, it don't, man. I don't give a fuck if that's woke or not. Nobody goes, oh, Michael. Have you ever heard anybody say Michael Jordan's bald? I've never even heard anybody say Michael Jordan's black. That's how hard he hits. But like Michael Jordan's bald, nobody cares. Black bald don't kip. Montel bald. Fucking Omar bald. Like that don't matter. In the black, they just hit so hard that bald is fine.
Black bald don't count.
Charles Barkley bald. Yeah. You don't think about it.
I'm not at all disputing it. I certainly trust.
I think it's unfortunate that you're black before you're anything else. And if you're a white man, bald's the worst thing you can do.
That's true. And look, I don't give a shit how much heat I get for it. I'll go on record saying black bald don't count.
that thing about you not ever hearing about him being black, there was a whole there was a famous article written about that at the time. I mean, it was before anything could go viral. I think it was called Michael Jordan is Black. And the whole thing was about how at a time when that's how people would describe athletes, first and foremost, he was one of the first ones that didn't get described as that way.
I thought, isn't there all, and I'm not.
Hit too hard.
I don't know the timeline.
OJ.
I was about to say, I don't know the timeline. I don't know timeline of OJ versus Jordan, but yes, that dynamic I've always associated with OJ Simpson.
Because he said it himself.
I'm not black, I'm OJ.
And that's accurate to how his lifestyle was. That's true, but I'm saying like as far compared to other black, if he was trying to make the point of look, my life is better than most black people because I'm not black, I'm OJ, then I'm fine with that statement because that was fucking right, man. Like especially at that time, there wasn't just like it's that Chris Rock bit where he's talking about all the Emmys he won, all the Grammys he won, and blah, 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 in the neighborhood that he lives in. He's like, you know what my neighbor does for a living? He's a fucking dentist. You know what a black guy would have to do to be a dentist and live in this neighborhood? He'd have to invent teeth.
So like, this motherfucker didn't invent some new kind of dentist shit. Like he's just a regular pull your tooth out ass dentist.
So like OJ living in Brentwood, man, like that's, like he was not black. He was
for the record, I'm not saying Michael Jordan was the first one. And I don't even know if the article was saying that. It was just saying that he was one of the first.
Yeah. Right. I want to do a couple of quick housekeeping things just so I don't leave these threads hanging for whatever reason. I pulled this up on Wikipedia. Go through these quickly. Close encounters of the first kind are visual sightings of a UFO, right? Close encounters of the second kind is when a UFO event in which a physical effect is alleged. So like crop circles or like electrical interference, stuff like that. Close encounters of the third kind is when UFO encounters in which an animated entity is present, like humanoids, robots, and humans. So that's seeing an alien, somehow, not just seeing a UFO. Close encounters of the fourth kind is when a human is abducted by aliens. Yeah, of course. Close encounters of the fifth kind is a UFO event that involves direct communication between aliens and humans. Bilateral contact experiences through conscious, voluntary, and proactive human-initiated cooperative communication with extraterrestrial intelligence. Close encounters. Yeah, no, there's more. There's two more. Close encounters of the sixth kind is the death of a human or animal associated with a UFO.
Oh, wow.
Close encounters of the seventh kind, the creation of a human-alien hybrid, either by sexual reproduction or artificial scientific methods. Obviously, multiple items on this list have never been confirmed to have existed or occurred. Yeah. People have just thought about them in basements and then codified them this way. So, but that's the seven that are recognized so far.
All right. My housekeeping thing.
Don't hit to here.
I had another one after yours.
My quick housekeeping thing. Bill D'Elia is Chris D'Elia's dad, and I think, slightly wrong, Trae. He is the creator and writer of Judging Amy. He's been a producer on so many Chicago Hope, Boston Legal,
all the city shows.
Yes, it seems like it for sure. Anyway, a lot of things. He's a big-time Hollywood dude, and supposedly he threatened with his own show that he got his son on the job, but it had nothing to do with Whitney.
Right.
The first time we've decided to do this housekeeping thing after killing numerous beloved television stars. We've just now started to correct ourselves at the end. I think I was right on with everything I said today.
Right.
I don't have any housekeeping.
My other housekeeping thing isn't even a thing that I got wrong earlier. It's a thing I referenced as though I was about to get into it, and then we, of course, got sidetracked, and I just want to circle back to it. It's also about Crystalia. It fucking blows my mind, man. So the Crystalia thing so far, the last count I saw was that there's been over 500 screenshots submitted by girls.
So 500 different girls?
500. Well, literally what I read, over 500 screenshots from women. I don't know if that means 500 different women or either way, it's a fucking high number. And also, disclaimer, I ain't went through all those. I'm sure a lot of those are probably from women who were of age, who were 19, 20, 21 or whatever, who are just saying Crystalia was a creep or whatever the fuck. But even if it's a small percentage of them were, high school girls or whatnot, that's still way too many and is still fucked up. But my point is, like, I just can't. How do you
the energy?
How do you? Well, okay, that's like I can't imagine having 500 interactions with any fucking body. But also, like, how do you not know no better than that in this day and age? Like, I don't know if it's a rich white entitled thing or whatever. But dude, if fucking Kevin Spacey wasn't too big to get took down, then you are not either, dog.
No,
like you,
I know,
so,
man.
Like,
but
how do you not cover your bases better than that?
Aren't a lot of those women older now?
I mean,
and I'm not
that's how age works, baby. Yeah, they. Yeah.
I
think they all are.
Every picture of you is when you're younger.
It didn't happen last year, is my point.
Right.
I don't think he was that famous. We weren't living in the time we're living in. I think he thought he could get away with it. I mean, he named his first special "White Male Black Comic," and that was based around a joke in which he said, "I'm actually black." That was in 2013. Now, I'm not bringing that up to like say, see, he's up, but it's just like that's also around the time this shit was going down. We have to remember that the world has changed, mostly for the better, in that you do get caught doing shit like this.
Yeah, right, for sure. But I'm saying,
I think he stopped. I could be
well,
wrong.
I mean, if you look at that clip from that one show that Caitlin Delaney, who's a very, very funny writer on Rick and Morty, you should follow her on Twitter, Caitlin Delaney. She's funny as shit. She put the Curb Your Enthusiasm music to it. It was fucking D'Elia, and you could see the life leave his body when they were. He was like, wait, how they were talking about people Snapchatting and getting caught cheating on their wives and shit on Snapchat. He's like, well, how'd they get caught? And they're like, well, they must have. He's like, Snapchat goes away, right? And they're like, no, you can record it. And like, he fucking, like, he looks aside like, oh my God, I've made a huge mistake.
You could tell he didn't know. And I know Drew's point, like, things have changed a lot, but still,
he might be stupid.
Right. Well, me and Katie were talking about the other night, and I told her, like if Katie fucking leaves me and I am forced to go back into the dating game, I'm gonna treat that shit like fucking corner boys in the Wire treat the dope game. Just fucking like no phones. No,
you get the money, you give me the shit. I'm going around the corner. That way it's not one transaction.
No, I ain't having nothing that could be misconstrued by nobody ever. Like fucking, know, like, and I'm not gonna do anything illicit, but I'm saying, like, I don't want to at any point appear as though I might have. I can't imagine if I was doing shit, but I don't so fucking laissez-faire about it, just throwing that shit out into the ether. When, dude, Brett Favre got into shit for dick pics. How long ago was that? A long time ago, man. Now,
all right, but
still playing, like,
but and I don't want, like, what you're accidentally, I think, because you're not a creep, coming off like you would do all these covert things to never get caught being a creep a little bit. And I know that's not what you're saying. What you're saying is like, he wanted to do something wrong, clearly. Like, this dude at some point was very famous in a certain world. He had shows on TV and stuff. He could have fucked a 22-year-old anytime he wanted. Not any 22-year-old. That's not what I'm saying. But a 22-year-old, a 21-year-old, a 20-year-old. Like, he wanted new underage girls. Like, that's if there are 500, I should say that. If there are in fact 500, and we have all these examples, my point being, I don't think it's not that he never thought that I might not get away with this. It was worth it to him because he liked it. And that's
I guess what I'm trying to say is it's the same thing that I talked about last week about these cops and how I can't wrap my head around. They fully know and understand the intense public scrutiny they are under. And I just cannot imagine the audacity involved that to be in that situation, you would still conduct yourself in the way that so many of them have conducted themselves. And I mean the same thing when I talk about Chris D'Elia. I literally can't wrap my head around the level of like I said, audacity, gall, entitlement, stupidity, all of the above, whatever you want to call it. It just blows my fucking mind.
Well, again, like, I hate to play this role of like, let me out-woke the woke comedian or whatever, but like,
I don't think you hate it, but go on.
I mean, I hate it because of that. And that's like, no, thank you for proving my point. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? I could tell you the truth about yourself right now.
Oh, that was so Raven.
And you treat me like that, or I could keep it to myself. But like, I mean, that's what rape culture is. For years, they could and did get away with shit like this. Chris D'Elia became a comic at the very end of people being able to get away with that. He probably saw his heroes getting away with shit like that.
Yeah.
He probably saw many, many producers, actors, and comedians doing the same type of thing, whether it was with 16-year-olds or 18-year-olds.
It's probably why he wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, he was in that world, right? He was in that world, and he's like, all right, I'm not leading man handsome. I'll learn a joke. You know, I can be in this.
And I'm saying that's the good side of all this stuff, is that hopefully it is changing and will prevent some people from doing things that they do want to do, but they won't do them because they might get caught.
Right.
But back then, people just didn't think they'd get caught because a lot of fucking people didn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, back then, they got caught, like as in the girl would go and then it would just go away.
Right.
Getting caught didn't matter. Like, getting caught wasn't a big deal. It was just like, there wasn't a Twitter. There wasn't so when you got caught back then, it just like, it was one PR phone call away and a check from, I'll just do it again. You know what I'm saying?
And I think he knew that.
Yeah.
I think people like him know that.
I just feel like I totally understand what you're saying about the culture at large, like in the more macro sense, but I just don't feel like Chris D'Elia has been around in any prominent fashion for long enough for that to be as much of a factor to me. Like, I guess you get older and time passes much more quickly. You said his first special was in 2013. I mean, that's fucking 7 years ago, but like, so maybe I'm just wrong, but you know, I
just think it's clearly he grew up with it. He just grew up because of his dad in that lifestyle and in that.
That's
culture.
what I think. I think
like,
it's
not
more
necessarily
just
him
an
as a
entitlement
professional.
thing.
Yeah. It's not like he's been in the game so long that things used to be different for him in the game. It's just that he grew up in the game was what it was, and he newned from those older dudes, and it just never fucking was different.
Let me hold
up. The Whitney pilot, 2011.
Yeah,
I mean, that's wild.
He got that special. He was already not a household name, but becoming one. I'm telling you guys, it's just now ending.
Right. Yeah. And it's not even really ending. It's just.
I know, but again, yes, that was almost 10 years ago. I know, me too. I'm not trying to act like men in 2011 gave a fuck about women or like they do right now. But I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like to act like we were all just totally ignorant of how you're like, you know, what's the word? Like your virtual indiscretions could be a problem for you.
Right.
I think that was a thing in 2011 still. Like, I don't think that
I'm not saying it wasn't at all, but I'm saying that the Me Too movement hadn't happened.
The Me Too movement definitely haven't happened.
Hannibal Buress had not gotten Bill Cosby canceled. If you're Chris D'Elia and you grew up in that world, there was no reason for you to believe you couldn't get away with that shit, is what I'm saying. There wasn't.
I agree.
I mean,
He did for years.
Forever, yeah.
Okay, the Brett Favre dick pic scandal was 2010, and
That's
it
a
was
different
from
world, though.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was a huge thing. I just don't
I think that also is because everybody was just mad Brett Favre cheated on his wife. He didn't get canceled.
Yeah,
No,
that's
he
the thing.
didn't.
That was
Also-
kind of a lot of the thing. Was like, he's a married man. He shouldn't have done that.
And he's this good old down home boy, not a, I mean, he ain't, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is all about like the 24-hour news cycle and stuff like that, though, which I feel is also like has been around. I feel like it also kind of gives him like I don't know, I know it doesn't make any difference as far as what he did, but it's almost like giving him a different leg to stand on in his argument, where it's like pleading some form of ignorance or something that I don't think he had. I just don't think he gave I think it's more about his rich, white, entitled background than it was about like him not knowing.
Rich, white, entitled background and rape culture are like this.
Kind of.
I know.
Right,
And like the Me Too movement's whole deal was like Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby. I mean, the Me Too movement is not focused on poor people who are assaulters and rapists, but like it's focused on famous people. I mean, obviously,
well, you don't know those guys' fucking names.
That's part of it, but it's also that like I don't know. I don't want to speak on behalf of the whole fucking Me Too movement. All I'm trying to express is that white, rich, famous entitlement is what protected him. Like he had those feelings because he was going to be protected. And,
right.
You can only get canceled if you've got something to be fucking canceled from. Like, I'm sure that my goddamn uncle who killed himself in January probably sent his fucking wrinkly, meth-addled dick around to a bunch of people he ought not have done. But, like, hell, he's on unemployment sitting at home. What's going to happen to his ass? So, like, the people that don't matter and don't hit and ain't poor, like, yeah, I mean, they still going to be doing that.
Yeah. The other thing is like we're kind of just talking about this all like it all was all these screenshots, all this shit was for sure from like 7 years ago, like pre-Me Too and stuff like that. And I mean, is that true? Are they all that old? It's not like he wasn't doing this last year.
It just doesn't seem like something you could quit.
Yeah, right.
It seems
but
like either you wanted to do that or you didn't want to do that. And if you did, like you wasn't.
Snapchat came out in 2011. I don't know how big it got, and I don't know when that interview's from. I mean, and that's another thing. Look, we're now getting involved in so many fucking hypotheticals and alleged type things, and I don't mean he did or didn't do it, but if you just take that clip of him kind of getting wide-eyed about Snapchat for face value, here's what you got there. A guy that we're pretty sure was reaching out to 16-year-olds for nudes and dates, who heard about Snapchat and started using it pretty quickly. My point being is like, as the world evolved and Harvey Weinstein got outed and Bill Cosby got outed, I'm sure he did start changing his techniques. And maybe he stopped doing it at some point because of this shit.
Right. What do y'all think about the fact that he has twice played a pedophile on TV shows? Once on Workaholics. It's a bad
read.
Once on Workaholics, which was a complete joke. That episode's fucking hilarious. I don't care what anybody says. Y'all ever see that? His screen name is Bieber Hole 69 or whatever. He comes over with an Xbox and shit. That episode is fucking funny as hell.
They took it down off Hulu.
Yeah, I know. And but the other one, the much later one, is from the show You on Netflix, which I watched already. I watched it before all this.
Did it hit for you, or did you watch it with Katie?
I very much watched it with Katie and at her behest, but it hit for me. It's a good.
Did you like it, or did your wife make you?
Right.
Well, no, I'm saying that because
it was both.
I mean, dude, look, the reason that I'm saying that is actually more sexist than what it even sounded. It's because Amber watched it, and I was like, well, there's no way this hits. So, but I didn't know I could have been enjoying it with her. I mean, that would have been nice. I could have got credit.
No, it's a good show. It's a bit much in multiple instances, in my opinion. But
you mean like when they had the pedophile play the pedophile,
right? So, but in that show's not a comedy. Yeah. That show's like a thriller. It's like a dramatic thriller. And in that show, he plays a pedophile. He plays himself, basically. He plays a like rich, fucking cool kid comedian, stand-up comedian specifically.
Oh,
yes. I mean, he literally is he's just playing himself.
I got to go watch that episode.
At the time watching it.
I can't jerk off till tomorrow because I got to go to the fertility clinic, so I'll watch it after I get back.
At the time watching it, at the time watching it, it's like, this is just Chris D'Elia playing himself if he was a pedophile. But like now, it's like, it was fucked up at the time because it was supposed to be fucked up. It was fucked up for only fictional reasons.
Right. John Lithgow played a serial killer. He's not a serial killer. It's fine.
But now, like with hindsight and everything, it's like way more fucked up, obviously. But but like I'm saying, and this is all speculation. I don't even know who casted that or anything. I don't know. I'm just wondering, do y'all think that like y'all think right, that it was like a thing that like people kind of knew about and that was part
like
of it?
Or
do you think that he as soon as they came in, they were like, "Oh, this is the guy." Like this guy, this guy gets it, man.
Do you think it was like or like it was him being like he thought, okay, if I do this, then somehow it'll be easier for me to just be like, oh, they're only saying this because I played this role and blah 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 blah. I don't fucking know, man.
Yeah, no hiding in plain sight thing. Yeah, I mean that's another story is why he took the role, because that is so psychotic in retrospect. In my opinion,
insane.
Agreeing to do that role, knowing about the skeletons you got in your closet is fucking nuts. And the only thing I can think about is, again, him just not giving a fuck, or some kind of hiding in plain sight thing that he has. They'll never suspect me.
Or maybe he thought if I tell them no, then they're going to be like, why don't you want to play a pedophile?
Yeah.
Well, priests, teachers, first of all, they do hide in plain sight. But, all right. When it's funny because I was saying this to DJ about a very different situation. But when it comes to like speculation and conspiracy, I feel like it's the only thing I'm a centrist on. I see it kind of down the middle. Probably he got the role on Workaholics because he kind of looks like a pedophile. Right. He's got a big old fucking nose, but he also looks like a dude who could pass, especially back then. That episode's what, 5, 6 years old, maybe 8?
Oh, dude, no, more than
it's
that.
It's like 10.
It's probably 10 years old now.
So he could pass as a young guy. They needed to cast a young comic. There's not a lot of famous young, et cetera, et cetera. His dad's getting him roles. He gets the role of a pedophile. A role of a comedian pedophile comes down the pipe. His fucking manager, who's a shark, knows that he looks the part in terms of a young comic who's got hip fans and has played a pedophile before. And you get typecast in Hollywood. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it probably was a combination of those things that led to it. And then in terms of him being a psycho, my guess is he got the part. What was he going to do? Say no? Right. He didn't say no to the 16-year-old girl who wanted to suck his dick. He's definitely not going to say to pretending to be that guy.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think it was like planned is what I'm saying. And I hope to God the casting director didn't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even really
that'd be hard for me
because that's a hell of a thing. And I very much doubt that that's true. I think it's more of a like, man, fucking nailed it. That's a great casting director.
Right. Fucking Allison Jones over here.
Yeah,
goddamn.
Had a great read on that one.
It does look weird. Can I say one more thing about it? And I won't name any names, but it's just something that's bothered me about sort of, and we've talked about them before on here, and just in general, these free speech warrior comedians. And they have, some of them suck and some of them are very famous and they're very funny. A lot of his friends are that, and some of them have circled the wagons for him. And that's so goddamn funny to me. And
what a hill to die on.
In a dark, absurd way. That's very funny to me because it's like you hate safe spaces and all these other things that you're claiming to do, but like your buddy can't take the heat of something he absolutely did wrong. Number one, and then number two, these are the people who are always talking about Jeffrey Epstein being a pedophile. Always want to know if Bill Clinton, he was on the plane, he wasn't on the plane. And look, I don't give a fuck. If Bill Clinton was on that plane, then let's set his ass on fire.
Absolutely, fuck him.
But like, it's clear that you don't actually have a problem with pedophiles. You just have a problem with rich liberals. And if you find out they're a pedophile, then you go after them or whatever. And that shit just pisses me off so fucking much.
You brought it. I think we talked about this. You just brought up another thing that pisses me off. This is completely off subject, but like, it's so hilarious to me that the right thinks that we wouldn't set Bill Clinton on fire for a better world. They think for some reason, like if Bill did something, we'd be like, we must protect Bill Clinton at all costs. Like, look, I hope Bill didn't do that shit, but if he did, like you said, fuck him, fuck Chris D'Elia, fuck all that shit. Like, Bill Clinton don't give a fuck about me, man. Crystal Lee don't give a fuck about you. So,
No.
Yeah. Well, you can go to wellreadcomedy.com, WELLRED comedy.com. Also check out Drew's other podcast, Into the Biscuit. He also has a Patreon. And we will not be on the road this month, but you can keep hollering at this podcast and look at all. Huh?
Let's do an online show.
Sounds like a good idea, Drew. Stay tuned for more information on when we do that online show. But until then, thank you all for listening to the Well Read Show. We'd love to stick around longer, but we got to go. Tune in next week if you got nothing to do. Thank you, God bless you, good night and skew.